What's up, everybody? Hello and welcome to episode number 284 of the VK Bros with Jason and Alex Von Cannell. This might be a bit of a short, sharp episode this afternoon, ladies and gents, because Alex and I have a shitload of things on our plate at the moment. Apologies for the dishevelled look that I currently am sporting.
And my shirt is so wrinkled.
Yeah, at least I have an excuse. I don't know where my razors and stuff are because I have packed them. Because this may be the last podcast we record from this current studio.
Very exciting.
Big dogs on the move.
I want to start off with a little thing that I saw on Instagram today, and I was like, that can't be real, so I thought I'll test it myself. And it is a bit of a stark warning about artificial
intelligence. And
I'll see if I can recreate it. So I'm just going to pull up Gemini.
Yep.
Here we go. Hey, can you... how many letter R's, are in the word strawberry?
There are two R's in the word strawberry. One after the ST and one after the OR.
Do you want to spell it out for me?
Sure, it's STRRBERRY.
Thank you.
Hey, no.
So, okay, no, all right, but hold on.
Can you ask it something for me?
Yeah.
Can you ask it how much total investment dollars have been piled into AI right now?
No. So, that was an even different response. I'll tell you what it said before, because I can go to the chat. So because I was doing it, I was on the toilet when I was doing this, right? That's where I do my best work. So it's a bit echoey in there. So it thought I said, how much arse is in strawberry? So I said, no, I'm Australian. I was asking for the letter R's. I understand. You're asking about the letter R. A strawberry doesn't have any letters in it, of course, but the word strawberry contains the letter R twice. Yes, I understand that. The word strawberry contains the letter R 2 times. Can you spell it for me? So it spells it correctly this time, unlike I did that time. Like, do you want to count them again? It's like, you're right, my mistake. The word strawberry has 1 R.
What?
And I said, try again. You're absolutely right. I keep getting that wrong. It's strawberry, so there are 2 R's in strawberry.
Oh my god.
We'll do this. So that was Gemini. Let's try ChatGPT. Let's see if it's any better. Hold on. How many letter R's, are in the word strawberry?
In the word strawberry, there are 2 letter R's.
What the fuck is wrong with these cunts?
Can you want to spell it out for me?
Of course, the word strawberry is spelled STRAWBERRY, so you can see the 2 R's right in the middle and towards the end.
But count those R's again.
Absolutely. Let's break it down. In strawberry, we have 1 R after the T and another R before the Y. So there are indeed 2 R's in total.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think it's been like $9 trillion that have been invested in AI so far. For that. Oh my god.
You got to be careful when you're using this thing, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like, this is one of the things, like, I've been sort of, and look, just so you're aware, guys, we will talk about Venezuela shortly. Like, that's probably going to be the main thing we'll talk about for the show. But this is, without notice, Alex has brought this up. I have deliberately tried not using AI because I've been concerned about these sorts of errors. I do use AI for the thumbnails, and they're not completely generated by AI. Obviously, I dabble with them afterwards, but what I have found is in the last 12 months, I use ChatGPT for those, and they've gotten a million times better at... I've literally gone down to, on the majority of these thumbnails now, I only have to put 1 prompt in, and I usually get what I want. Whereas at the beginning, I would run out of my like free image generations and then have to come back the next day and try again because you get like 3 or 4 on the free generations. But so that's improved, but just the absolute basics, and I've seen a lot of stuff about math too that the AI keeps
it can't do it, but that makes sense because people call it artificial intelligence. It's not. It's a large language model.
Yeah.
So a large language model is language. It's not reasoning.
Yeah.
All it is finding words and putting them together. That's what a large language model is. This ain't AI, and that's why I'm kind of not scared of it.
And the problem is too, is that obviously it's been trained off social media, because we've all got those friends who have absolute zero understanding of how to spell, and that's probably been caught in the net too, where they've seen people having conversations in, but even, I mean, it can't even just be that, right? Because it literally spelt strawberry out to you and still swore blind that it only had two R's.
Because the way that it thinks is not the way we think it thinks.
Right.
So now, if I had to guess, there's some deep Reddit sub, whatever they call them, that has a whole community of people purposely saying that strawberry is only spelled with two R's.
Probably.
And it's trained itself off that.
Yeah.
So the people have trolled it. So it makes me think, like, the plot of Terminator could have been really different if they had known this. If they had read it back when Terminator was around, they could have just, like, literally bamboozled the Terminators. How many R's is strawberry? I don't know. Not enough, or too many.
Far out. Well,
So just be careful with it, guys. Be careful with it. Now, I've said it on the show before, but I have 6 AI programs on my homepage of my phone.
Which one of them is your girlfriend?
No, none of. I don't want to, because they remember stuff. I don't have those conversations with them.
Hey, women don't forget either, mate.
I don't. Yeah, but imagine, like, saying, "Hey, honey, there's more R's to that." What did you say? All right, let's talk about Venezuela.
Yeah, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, so this week, Donald J. Trump did a military operation. Another one that I got to watch live as it was happening on social media, which is wild.
I think the technical term is a yoink.
Yeah, so
Donald J. Trump yoinked Nicolas Maduro.
In 3 hours, there was jets and helicopters flying over the capital of Venezuela, Caracas, bombing military facilities. And then we heard not too long after that the special forces had swooped in and yoinked the president of Venezuela and his wife, Nicolas Maduro, and taken him back to America to have him tried in a New York court for drug trafficking. Now, what is very interesting about this story is the culture divide, the political culture divide. Actual culture, the actual people of Venezuela are ecstatic about this. So a little bit of history on Venezuela. Venezuela is sitting on the largest oil reserves on planet Earth, more than Saudi and Qatar put together. They're sitting on, I think, the second largest gold reserves in the world, and yet their people are some of the poorest people on Earth. When we talk about inflation rate here in Australia, and we say, oh, it's at 3.8%, and that's crazy. In the last couple of years, they've had 10,000% inflation. Venezuelan inflation was so bad that if you got paid, you had to spend all the money that day because it wouldn't have the same buying power the next day.
It's insane, hey?
Yep. So there are shoeboxes of cash to buy a loaf of bread.
Yep.
Okay. So it was terribly run, and the reason why it was terribly run is because it was socialist. Before Maduro, so I think Maduro's been in power for 13 years.
Yep.
Prior to that, there was what was his first name? Chavez.
Hugo Chavez.
Hugo Chavez. And apparently life was actually pretty good
at the beginning.
Under Chavez. At the beginning. And look, socialism always starts that way because capitalism makes you a bunch of money, and then you can use it all, and then when it's gone, socialism sucks.
Yeah, as the old saying goes, the problem with socialism is you eventually run out of other people's money.
Yeah. And when Chavez was ousted, he basically just pointed at Maduro and said, "Oh, you're my replacement."
Yeah.
Apparently, he was a bus driver before.
He was a bus driver. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's very like, and look, you don't know how much of this stuff is just propaganda coming out as well, like to support what the West is doing, but. A lot of people have said that he was actually quite dumb, and there's a lot of video footage of him live on TV failing to do basic math questions that have been asked.
He
by
also
reporters.
didn't know how many R's were in strawberry. So, now this is... Let me give you some... let me play devil's advocate and be... Let me put myself in liberal shoes about why people are upset about what's happened. So the main reason, and probably I can see why this would be jarring to people, is the breaking of international law. Okay, so what these people believe is that there is an international law, and you can't just swoop in and steal for sovereign leaders.
Yeah.
And that sounds legit, right? That sounds like you shouldn't do that. Now, what the Trump administration is claiming is that because he's a drug dealer and all the drugs were coming to the United States, it gave them the precedent to go and try someone in America for a crime that happened in America. They just have to get into America.
The other thing too is they question his legitimacy as a president because he actually lost the last election by a landslide and did not cede power.
So there are a bunch. We'll address that too, but because there are a bunch of aspects to this story, but
he basically did the thing that the Liberals have been saying that Trump was going to do, and yet the Liberals are backing Maduro and they still hate Trump.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's absolute Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah.
So I can see why, justifiably, I can see that you could be upset or with the idea that a foreign power can just come in and grab your leader and disappear. And I get that. Right? I sympathise with that. Now, in terms of the international court, I don't know if I've said it on the show, but I've had this conversation a bunch of times. I don't respect international anything.
Yeah.
The World Health Organization, the Bank of International Settlements,
United Nations.
Yep. Because all those things are extensions of primarily US power anyway.
Yeah.
So, for example, most of the funding for UN, NATO, WHO was American money anyway.
Yeah.
And so essentially it would do whatever America wanted it to do anyway.
Yeah, it's just purchasing, what's the term? Not credit, but it's essentially putting all of those decisions at arm's length on an international body. So
totally.
When the US wants to do a certain thing, they go, hey, World Health Organization, tell everybody that we're doing this. And the World Health Organization tells everybody that what we're doing. But
yeah. So I've been sort of saying for a long time that we should be out of these things. These things suck. All they do is harm countries, and COVID was a great example of where wasn't it interesting? We wanted to follow all the WHO guidance until we didn't, and then we stopped talking about the WHO. So do they have the power or don't they? Pick one and stick with it. But anyway, and the other thing too, I'm not sure the International Court has ever done anything. Like Benjamin Netanyahu is supposed to be on this list, and he's supposed to be arrested.
Yeah.
Well,
so
why is not? Yeah. So, to me, it's just it's a thing that people love to quote, but it's never done anything. And at the end of the day, someone has to police it, and the only people who are going to police it are people with power. Therefore, the only people with power that respect these global organizations is the people funding it, which is America. And then since Trump's been in the second time, he's pulled the funding out of most of that stuff anyway.
Yeah.
So he's just going in and doing it himself. Okay.
I know that you're probably planning on getting to this later, but I think that one of the biggest parts of this conversation that we just need to actually talk about is the fact that we've mentioned the term luxury beliefs 3 weeks in a row on this show. The international courts, that's a luxury belief. The international courts don't have their own army. There is no way of them enforcing anything. They are hoping that the collective superpowers will support them in doing the things that they want to do. Reality is, it's never going to happen. So the international court is a luxury belief. Believing that giant superpowers can't just go into weaker powers and yoink their leaders, I'm sorry guys, that's a luxury belief.
Yeah.
So if you're upset about that, let's say that you're Australian and you say, mind you, I would not mind at all if Albo got yoinked. Like, see you, bro. But let's say that you're upset and you go, there's no way that the US should be able to swoop in and yoink your leader. And I would absolutely agree with you. So I would have serious questions over your national security if that was possible. Like, you're literally on your own continent. If you can't protect yourself, that's a problem. And usually that means if you can't protect yourself, it's because you're used to one of these big dog super players providing the protection for you, which means you're not a real country anyway.
So that's really the only attack vector, I guess, I give for the people who are anti this thing. And I get it, but like I've said, there is no international court, man. It's so forget about it. Okay. Now, there are other aspects that maybe we talk about all the different aspects and then we'll sort of wrap it all up. So a large part of, let's do the oil now. Okay,
so can we talk about not the oil specifically, but we need to talk about why they did it?
Well, no, I know. I want to talk about all the vectors.
Okay.
And then we can talk about why.
Okay, go.
Okay. So oil. There's some stat like they used to pump 1 million barrels of oil a day. Now it's like 100,000 barrels of oil a day.
Yeah, so just to give a bit more of a background, because you sort of started at socialism. Venezuela didn't used to be a socialist country.
No, I haven't done socialism yet.
But you mentioned it before. But what I was going to say is that
I'm going to get to it. So let's save it.
But you're talking about oil. It's relevant to the oil conversation.
Let me hold it. Let me do it. So they've gone from 1 million barrels to 100,000 barrels, and the byproduct of that is the country has become extremely poor. Also when the oil price dropped, it just literally just cooked them. Okay, so what Trump has wanted to do, and to his credit, and Friendly Jordy's actually had a great video about this, and he's not a Trump fan at all, but he goes, forget any conspiracy theory. If you want to know the truth about what Donald Trump was thinking, he'll tell you.
Yeah.
So they went originally. Trump has bombed Venezuelan drug boats. He's also commandeered a Venezuelan oil boat. And people say, well, what are you going to do with that oil? And he's like, we're going to sell it. We're going to sell the oil to our partners and to our friends. Okay. He's made no issue. Now he said, we're going to send our companies in and we're going to take over these oil wells and we're going to get them producing. Okay? So in many ways, he's taken away any potential attack by just saying the quiet part out loud, which is we want the oil, we want the resources. Now, if you think about it, there is going to be a material benefit to the people in Venezuela when this happens, okay? Now, I know if there were lefties that were listening to this show, they would say, oh, look, we're getting robbed here for our stuff too. All my friends work for the mines, and they all earn double what I earn.
Yeah.
Okay, so as much as you might say, like, the taxation of it and the royalties you might not agree with, and aspects of that I agree with too, there's still a very material benefit to the people on the ground in terms of the how lucrative pumping for oil is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I just take a step back? Because this is what I was talking about before. So when you mentioned that they went from pumping, and again, we don't know the real numbers, but it was essentially around 1 million barrels a day down to about 100,000 barrels a day. You didn't really explain why that was.
I'll get to it. Trust me, I'm getting to it.
Okay.
Okay. So Trump wants to go in and he wants to take the oil. There's also then the next part is only days, or I think it was a day prior to the attack, Maduro was shaking hands with a Chinese company, a Chinese diplomat they've done an oil deal with them. Now, there is a doctrine called the Monroe Doctrine, which was written in the 1800s, that essentially said America, as in North, Central, and South America, is the United States domain. And there can be no European influence in America. Okay? Now, back then, they said European because China wasn't really a thing. The East wasn't really a thing there. But what Trump has done is taken that to its absolute conclusion in saying, you can't do business on my continent. It's not really his continent, but in the Western Hemisphere, in a region, you can't take that because of the Monroe document. The Monroe document says, stay away, this is mine. So you can't go, China can't come in and do a deal, Russia can't come in and do a deal. They've got to deal with me. Okay? So he has quoted that. It's not like this is not a conspiracy theory. He has literally said, stay out of my patch. We'll come to Greenland, because that's involved in that too. Mm-hmm. Now, arguably, there were economic sanctions against Venezuela imposed by America, which might sound counterintuitive, right? You're like, you can't sell to anyone, but you definitely, like, we're going to ban you from selling. So you have to sell to someone else, and then you get pissed off about it. But Trump's not a massive sanctions guy. He's just like hey, I'll swoop in and take your lead and then install a new one. Okay? So that is a factor. All right. Another factor. And this is what I think the big one is, which is the one that you kept wanting to rush to, which is socialism. There was a real problem. Most of their problems stemmed from socialism. Socialism infected that country, and like we said at the onset, life was good at the start, okay? But then when the money ran out, they just printed more. And the quality of life for the Venezuelan went through the floor. What I personally like about this is that there's now an opportunity for... I actually found myself, because I was debating this topic with a couple of people, and I think this is the main aspect of this attack, is to show that socialism is a parasite. And that, look what we can do when we do the free trade, open market, maybe not so free, maybe more free, not totally free, more open markets, capitalist way. Look at what we can do to materially benefit the normal people of Venezuela. Mm-hmm. All the Venezuelans know this. 9 million people have left Venezuela. It's the largest exodus from a country in history. Mm-hmm. And they literally just left to get a better life because it sucked so bad. So Trump's got a real opportunity to swing in and prove the point that capitalism beats socialism for the little guy. Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of my lefty friends are like, oh, they're just going to enrich their billionaire friends. Yeah. Yep. Totally. That's totally going to happen. I do not disagree with that at all. But you're also going to uplift everyone that's associated, like on the ground, in terms of being able to pay better wages there, to be able to have a stable currency. Because once you've got real income coming through the production of oil, you don't need to print money. Therefore, you're not going to have the inflation rate. And Javier Milei has proven this. Javier Milei in Argentina, which is pretty close, has gone and showed if you just reduce government spending and you definitely don't deficit spend, you can fix your economy in like 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
Trump will be able to do that as long as, now I want to put a big asterisk here. I reserve the right to change my mind about this whole attack if Venezuela ends up like a failed state, like all the previous military actions that the Americans have done, like Libya, Syria, Afghanistan, Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like these ones are different because unlike, I remember very vividly following the Iraq War where we were trying to take down Saddam Hussein because he had weapons of mass destruction. And I remember on the news, he was opening the doors to these international bodies to come in and inspect, the weapons inspectors, come inspect it. And they found, like Dave Chappelle does in the skit, Black Bush, they found aluminum tubes. And I remember them saying it on the news, like, what do you think they're going to use these tubes for? It's got to be nukes, right? And then that was enough justification to send them over there. I can't remember how long it took before they got Saddam Hussein, but then they stayed.
Yeah.
And that just made no sense to me. And then when they went to Afghanistan, Afghanistan was just to get Osama bin Laden. But we knew he was in Pakistan. Everyone knew that. But we're attacking somewhere else. We're saying, hey, we're looking for Osama. Where's Osama? Well, he's in Pakistan. Yeah, but we're going to look here. We're just going to keep looking here. And they looked there for 20 years, right? In this case, he's just lopped the head off straight away. So that's why I think this action, Trump's action, is very different to any of the previous forever war actions.
Mm-hmm.
He did Iran in half an hour. He's done Venezuela in 3 hours. The other thing I like about it, in terms of a show of force, is if you're sitting there, and I think the Cuban president and the who else? Who's another border? Colombian president. They were mocking him to start with. Now they've kind of shut up.
Yeah.
Right? Because
they don't want to get yoinked.
Yeah, they don't want to get yoinked. So, big picture is, I think, if they go in, Trump can prove the viability of the capitalist system over socialist. And I'm all for that because I'm seeing socialism creep into our ethos here.
Yeah.
The whole Western world is falling for this idea that just give people free stuff and everything will be fixed, and hate billionaires.
So can I tag in?
Yes.
Because you've just given me a good segue. So the main reason why I wanted to go back and give a little bit more background into Venezuela itself is because I believe that Venezuela serves as a massive warning for Australia because we are essentially going the same way that they did. And the reason being is that the things that were in common with both countries, they were originally both capitalist countries. Australia's a capitalist country. Venezuela was a capitalist country. It was only when Hugo Chavez came in and won the election that he brought in socialism. And like Alex said, at the beginning, everything was great because he came in promising free everything. So free education, free healthcare, free this, free that, free the other. But what happens with socialism, as we talk about all the time, is that the government controls everything. So you remove private investment and private property, and the government controls everything. So what happened with the oil fields, for example, was they went from however many barrels it was that they were doing, but then when the government nationalized control over those oil production facilities, they weren't being maintained correctly because all the private companies that were running those facilities and knew what to do and they were able to invest their money in those companies to keep them to keep them maintained. That wasn't there anymore, and the government wasn't maintaining them. So that's why they ended up dropping. For like 80% of their oil production dropped purely because the government privatized it.
And to give you an example, like here in Australia, the government's tasked with the job of maintaining the Bureau of Meteorology website.
Yeah.
They then outsource it to someone because they don't know how to do it themselves.
Spent 78 million on consultants for the website.
Yeah, like that's how inept government systems are. Whereas I'm building a piece of software. We've spent probably $1 million on it, and it's far more sophisticated than what they have. Like theirs is literally just an aggregator of old information. Ours is a custom blockchain, and like it's sick. It's a beautiful decentralized system.
And so when you've got like your
ours is real, ours is tangible. We have a vested interest in making it work.
Correct.
Whereas they have a vested interest in making bank for like literally rotting the system.
Yeah. It's
not the company's fault. It's the person with the money who's enabling these people to do it.
Yeah. So when the government privatized the oil fields, then they fell into disrepair. So that's when the production lowered. And when the production lowers, obviously the amount of money coming into that country lowers. And then the standard of living started dropping off a cliff after that. And the reason why I'm saying that this is a warning sign for us is that in Australia, we always talk about our lack of economic complexity in this country. We don't manufacture anything. We don't invent anything anymore. We used to be a country full of innovators. Now it's too expensive to innovate over here. The absolute basics of things that you need to run, innovation and business is things like cheap energy, which we don't have anymore, and we have no plans of getting to.
Also, appetite for investment. Because of our real estate market and because of NDIS companies and because of government contracts, and I know this, I've been through this for the last 3 years in startup world, all the investment money goes to property shit.
Correct. So, let me give you an example that the lefties in Australia talk about all the time. We don't tax our gas exports, right? Everyone complains about this. We should get more money for our natural resources. Absolutely, I'm totally in agreement on that. However, here's the thing. There are still Australian workers who work in these gas fields who now draw an income at a very considerable income for doing that sort of work, and then they pay income tax as well. So at least you're employing Australians. And the GST too, but you are employing Australians, and the government is receiving taxation in one way, shape or form. I was listening to a podcast this week, and one of the things they mentioned, and this again flies in the face of everything that we talk about on the show, but the Australian government receives 54% of its total revenue from income tax.
Yeah, it's gross.
Right? It's wild. And we can talk later on another date about how we should change the system, but what that shows you is when you hear all these headlines about them not taxing our gas exports, the reality is every Australian-based worker who works at those gas fields is being taxed through income tax, which is where 50% of the government's revenue comes from in the first place. So there is money flowing into the coffers because you have these industries that are available, right? Now, what Venezuela did with the oil fields? They privatized it. So in this case, the government would privatize all those gas fields, and they kicked out most of the foreign companies. So in Venezuela, I think there's only one company left that was still an American company that was still able to run their oil fields in Venezuela. But that's why the production dropped so much. And when the production drops, guess what? There's no jobs. So imagine if our mining sector lost 80% of its projects over the next 5 to 10 years. Where would all those miners go and work? Right? And they're some of the highest paid jobs. And as we know, we have a progressive...
Well, the beauty is they'll say, well, there's a safety net. The government will just pay them.
Yeah, well, that's right. But this is the thing, guys, and this is what we keep banging on about every week on this show. We are already at that tipping point now where about 50% of the country is directly dependent on government handouts, whether it's by being directly employed by government or taking the majority of their income from handouts, i.e. NDIS or other welfare benefits. So we're already at that tipping point. If you privatize things and push out private money from the country, that will tip even further past. And as soon as you get past the 50%, the entire house of cards falls. So Venezuela is a warning sign to Australia because that could happen to us, especially as cost of living gets more difficult, socialism becomes more attractive because look at what happened in New York with Mamdani. Everyone loved hearing the fact that Mamdani said he's going to do, we're going to do free social housing and we're going to have government-owned grocery stores. So everything's going to be cheaper. And then you see all these interviews with these Venezuelans who fled Venezuela, who are like, yeah, the government privatized our grocery stores too. So then we had to line up in bread lines because they had no food. Because the beauty of capitalism, as gross as the lefties think it is there is incentive to work. There is an incentive to produce. In socialism, you all have to work, but you get less. And you also you can't work harder to receive more. If you work harder, you still get the same.
The part that I find that doesn't get spoken about enough is a socialist will say it's about human, not integrity, but
the warmth of collectivism.
No, like oh shit, it's on the tip of my tongue. It's about how they making people feel shit. Where it will come to me after. I'll start explaining the having like some self-worth because you're not having to fight for scraps. Dignity. Dignity is the word that I struggle to find.
How dignified of you.
Yeah. Okay, so they say it's like you can have a dignified life under socialism because your means are catered for. But for me, witnessing through my own experience what people are like who have been given things. There's people that live kind of socialist lives without being in the socialist system, i.e. people that get a lot of family money, people that have very cushy jobs, primarily for the government, where they're able to have these luxury beliefs. And some of them don't feel like they have dignified lives.
No, we talk about
like
this all the time.
Where's the dignity in like getting shit for free? I thought dignity comes from serving fellow man. And capitalism enables you to serve fellow man the way that you want to do it.
Yeah, like we talk about this on, like whenever we talk about mental health, this comes up, right? A lot of the people in our country, a rich Western society, who claim to suffer the most from anxiety or depression and those sorts of mental health conditions, the thing we always talk about, especially with men, is that it's typically because they lack purpose. So purpose can be found in a variety of different ways. Oh, see you, bud. Oh, do you want to say hello?
Hi, Uncle.
Hey!
All right, Natty, you got to go. I'll see you later. So purpose can be found in a variety of different ways. It can be found through work. It can be found through charity and volunteering your time. It can be found through having a family, like having kids, for example. I got to tell you, having children is the hardest thing that I've ever done. But even though I'm the busiest I've ever been, I'm the most fulfilled I've ever been because I have purpose. The world is easy for me. Every single day I wake up, I have a reason to get out of bed. I've got to get up and help the kids get dressed for school. I've got to feed them their breakfast. I've got to do these things. And they sound like menial tasks and they sound like bullshit things to do. And you hear it from people with no kids all the time. Like, oh, look, I get to sleep in. I don't have to do any of that shit. I'll tell you right now, I'm way happier than a lot of those people are. Because I have purpose inbuilt into life.
I use that example of like when I was watching those survival shows where you essentially, when you reset society, the freeloader has the worst time.
Yeah, of course. Because they're the first person to be ostracized from the group too.
And the people that provide lead the best lives.
Yeah.
And the people that provide get rewarded by the people that receive those gifts. And then that person feels indebted to now try and provide for the team as well.
Because it's human nature.
And that's why I think, as a real microcosm, that's why capitalism increases the quality of life, whereas socialism decreases it.
So
and look at every country that does it. Every country that, and this is where the prosperity in the Western world comes from. This is why everyone's coming to the Western countries. We hate capitalism. Hey, can I have some more of that? You know, they want to experience socialism in capitalist countries. They got rich through capitalism.
Yeah, well, here's the other thing too, which is so dumb that people don't think about, right? Very simple terms. One of the things that the socialists always talk about is they want free healthcare. We want free healthcare. Healthcare should be a human right. Great. So then you're going to turn into a socialist society where your doctor gets paid exactly the same amount as the checkout chick down at Woolworths, right? Where is the incentive to become a doctor if you make the same as what everyone else does? There is no incentive. Therefore, you have no doctors. Therefore, there is no healthcare. Not even free healthcare. There is no healthcare because the incentives aren't there. But just to share a personal story, I mentioned at the start of the show, this might be one of the last times that I broadcast from this house. The reason why is because we're selling and we're moving to be closer to my wife's work. Now, I'm the son of 2 immigrants who came to the country with very little support, very little money, who worked hard, had multiple jobs, built a business, made their own way through to have a respectable middle-class lifestyle in Australia. And then we were born, and we had the opportunity to do the exact same thing. So I remember when I was young, 18, 19, 20, a lot of my friends would talk to me about how much I worked compared to them. Oh, you're crazy. Oh, live a little. You should travel more. You should do these things. You should do that. But we worked. I worked hard. And because I worked hard, I put myself in a position where 8 years ago, my wife and I could buy this house that I'm currently sitting in. And now, 8 years later, because of obviously how bunta everything's gone because of COVID and those sorts of things and the rise in house prices, I'm in a position where we can sell this house and move to the area that we want to move to, and we'll be in a considerably better financial position. That is not possible under socialism. Under socialism, I would have worked the same amount and I would be poor today. And my children would be lining up in bread lines with me to try to get food, which we may or may not get. Like, that's the difference, guys. But anyway, we talk about socialism all the time. I want to get to the next part of the Venezuela story. Because the next part is the geopolitical circumstances surrounding this. The oil thing is very significant, but it's not significant in the way that a lot of people are saying it. So the lazy go-to is Trump just wants to take the oil. The reality is the US is already a net oil exporter. They produce enough of their own oil. They don't need the Venezuelan oil. They don't need it. They can export. They produce so much they can cover themselves and sell to other countries. However, they don't want that oil going to a different superpower, whether that is China or whether that is Russia. And we covered something on the show a little while ago when Trump first came into office and started putting the tariffs on. And we were talking about the tariff story. And we said that the tariff story actually had a lot to do with China potentially trying to take Taiwan. Because what he used the tariffs to do was put tariffs on those Taiwanese-built chips to encourage companies to invest in making manufacturing in America, to manufacture those chips in America. Therefore, the strategic imperative for China to take Taiwan and therefore own the entire chip market disappeared. So we talked about the fact that he potentially prevented Taiwan from being taken by China
until we deal with TSMC. Yeah.
Yep, through commerce rather than war. Big tick. This kind of does the same thing. Because here's the thing, guys, and this is what I said before about like luxury beliefs and the things that the real adults need to have a conversation about. Venezuela is a broke-ass nation sitting on the world's largest supply of oil. Whether America takes it or not, someone's taking it.
China was there.
China was going to take it, right? Now, if you are China wanting to take Taiwan through military force, having unlimited oil supplies is extremely important. Because if you are trying to literally take over a country, you're having tankers and everything that goes with it, right? You need oil. You need oil to have the fuel to be able to take over Taiwan. Trump has just cut that fuel off. That is, to me, the number one reason why he actually did this. So it's not liberating the Venezuelan people. That wasn't the priority. But here's the thing, guys. When you're an adult having these adult conversations, two things can be true at the same time. Sure. The entire strategic imperative could be securing the oil so China can't have it, but at the same time, it can also enrich the lives of the Venezuelan people.
Yeah, wipe out socialism.
And here's the other thing too, guys. The security guarantees come with the US companies that come to help with the oil, right? So this is what Trump did in Ukraine with the minerals deals. So you keep hearing these leaders talk about, oh, we need security guarantees. We need security guarantees. Essentially what they're saying is, if we're going to sign this deal with Russia to stop the war, we want the US to guarantee that if Russia does anything, that the US will defend us from Russia. The security guarantees come with the fact that American companies have an interest there, there are Americans working there, and the US government will protect the American citizens that are in those countries. So when Venezuela opens up those defunct old oil facilities to American companies to come in and invest money into them, repair them, get them barreling oil again, which is massive for the local economy, for workers. Like, it will flood the Venezuelan coffers with real money again, because you got to remember, it's not just them printing their own money, it's real money flooding in US dollars from other countries buying that oil from them. That brings real wealth back to Venezuela. So this accomplishes so many goals all at the same time. But the number one point I want to make on this, which I really, really like, is the fact that Trump has shown... I think most people, particularly in the West, again, luxury beliefs, I think most people thought there was only two ways of doing these things when it comes to invading sovereign nations for a geopolitical purpose. Way number one is the completely hands-off approach. We are withdrawing from the world. We'll take care of ourselves. We're America first. We won't touch anyone else, and just don't touch us. That's way number one. Again, not realistic. Like I said, if America didn't take the oil, China was taking it. Someone's going to take the Venezuelan oil. The other way of doing it is what we've experienced in our lifetime with like the war on terror. Invade a country and then sit in that country for 20 years, destroying countless lives.
Spend $8 trillion.
Right? Spending way too much money.
Give it back to Taliban when you finish.
Correct. Trump has shown there's a third way to do things. These short, sharp military operations he has done in Iran with taking Maduro has shown that you can do, like, it's putting America's military superiority back on the map again. It is showing these countries out there that, A, not only do they have the capability to do these operations extremely successfully, but B, they've got the kahunas again to go out and do these things. So you better act right because the big dog's back in town. But it's not...
I've brought up,
oh, sorry, what's this?
What I've brought up is the Venezuelan stock market.
There you go.
And if I go to the 1 year and pick the date here, which was the
Christmas
Day, and it is up. So for the month, it's up 242%.
Yeah.
Okay, over the 5 years, look at that.
So again,
parabolic rise.
If you are a lefty and you are claiming to care about the Venezuelan people, you should care about the fact that there is money flooding into that country for the first time in decades.
Now, they won't because they're like, corporations, corporations,
money,
companies
economy, capitalism,
Yeah, yes. But, you know, it works. You might deny it, you might not like it. It works better than every other system. Now, let's talk Greenland. So, Trump has said again, and I can't remember, did he say it in 2016 as well, that he's going to take Greenland?
I don't remember. I'm not sure.
He said it. I'm sure he said it. He's at least said it prior to today, this week as well. That he's like, we're taking Greenland. I'm pretty sure it must have been 2016 because he was going to do a deal where he was going to pay them 120, like every man. Yeah, we spoke about it on the show. We worked it out. Like it worked out to $120,000 to every man, woman, and child in Greenland. And my more left friends had an issue with that too. Oh, so now he's taken Venezuela and now he's just going to go and take Greenland. I'm like, well, he's pitched a deal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, let me do some investigation into it. So I did more of a deep dive. I didn't really know the history of it, but I found some interesting points about Greenland. So for a start, going back to the Monroe Doctrine, you could argue that it's in the Western Hemisphere.
Well, Trump could argue that. Anyway, yeah. That's all that really matters, isn't it?
I'll
the
bring it
Trumpo
up.
Doctrine.
Just for people that don't know what Greenland is, it is here.
Yeah, it's the white bit, not the green bit.
Okay, so it's very close to America.
It's essentially on the
border. It's in line. No, well, not really. It's a little bit, but it's close. Okay. Now, very rich in minerals,
rare earths,
but interestingly enough, they don't really mine them because there's lots of uranium here, and you're not allowed to. Certain countries aren't allowed to mine if they're inadvertently going to mine uranium, because uranium can be used for nuclear weapons.
Right.
I think America can.
Interesting.
Because they've got the weapons, so I think they can. So I think that's a big leg up, and I think Trump knows that. Now, people are going buck wild over this. Oh, you can't take the sovereignty of another country. Jason, do you know who owns Greenland?
I actually don't. Is it the French?
Denmark.
Denmark, yeah, close.
Denmark's here. Denmark owns that.
And speaking of which, don't forget, we just sold Hamilton Island to Blackstone.
Yeah.
Like, they just bought that island. What's the difference?
So this is the big lesson that so this is jarring to people. Oh, and what was the island that the UK just got rid of that didn't tell the people and everyone's got the shits?
It's not the Falklands, is it?
Not the Falklands. No. There was a.
Is it London? Didn't they sell London to the Arabs?
well.
No,
there's another island that they're handing back. It was part of their territory that they just handed back, and there's a military base on it. And I'm pretty sure they're going to do a deal where they're going to rent it back for like $20 million a year, even though they already had it. Anyway, another shoot. So my point is, if you read any history book over any period of time, these deals have always been done.
Correct.
No country, and we said this over the Ukraine-Russia thing. You can't take a sovereign country. It was only sovereign for a very short amount of time. Ukraine's been sovereign since 1991. Like, I'm older than Ukraine. Okay, now there is an older pre-USSR version of it, but they change hands all the time. This is the natural order of things. We're just used to not hearing about it or not living in a time where that was happening regularly. So most people didn't even know that Denmark owns Greenland, and Trump's like, I want it. Now, I heard Pippa Malmgren, she's an ambassador. Her father's got an extremely interesting story, Harold Malmgren. She said Trump has negotiated the same way for his entire life, which is throw a grenade in, let it explode, let everyone say what they're going to say, and then once it settles, he'll come in and go, all right, let's talk.
Yeah, he breaks your nose up front.
Yeah, see, this one, he said, we're taking Greenland. And people go, is it a military thing? Is it this? Is it that? I know it's not, because we've spoken about it on the show. He's going to offer the money, and I'll give you the tip. I'll give you the red hot tip. If a leader came, can you imagine if Australians were offered 120,000 US, which is 200 grand? If every man, woman, and child got $200,000 in Australia, but we had to give up our sovereignty to another country, do you think we'd do it?
Dude, that's what everyone's like basically saying about taxing the gas reserves. That's literally what they're asking for. We want you to tax them, so a foreign company pays taxes, and then you give us free shit. It's basically the same thing.
Dude, if the Philippines came and said, hey, by the way, I will give you 200 grand, and like if you've got a family of 4, that's $800,000. You'll be learning Filipino real quick. Okay? So, it's not anywhere near as bad as what people think. It's interesting because I've read history books. I love history. I love seeing these changes. Go and look at, like, especially Europe is crazy for it. Europe has changed, like, more than any other country ever.
Yeah.
Like, it just goes to show how kind of, like, lazy we are with the research that we're willing to do into these things.
But it's also...
It's another thing that just feels wrong. Oh, it feels wrong that someone can just buy a country. You can buy countries, dude. You can buy countries.
Well, I just remember this too, and I was just double-checking which one it was. There's actually a state of Canada which is trying to cede from Canada at the moment. And
Alberta.
Alberta, yeah. And they're literally starting the formal process, even with the Canadian government, to see whether or not it's possible for them to become their own independent country within Canada.
Do you know why?
Because they think that Canada's gay.
Well, all the surrounding provinces are gay. Alberta is the rich part with heavy mining industry, and they're going hard. They want to fall into America because they know that America will let them do, because there's all these environmental laws that they're
But it's also,
against.
Alberta was the only state that was anti all of the COVID measures as well.
Yeah.
They were very sovereign, very independent.
That was the one where that one businessman said, show me the difference between the flu and COVID-19, and I'll wear the mask. And then they're like, I plead the fifth.
Yeah, so they obviously have a very different mentality, and it's weird how they have that mentality when they come from a hard-working mining town.
Yeah, so... this is not surprising to me at all. I'm enjoying the show. I think Donald Trump is doing an excellent job. Like Jason said, you know, it's not a forever war. We're not putting boots on the ground and we're going to dig in and we're going to... like, it was literally a precision strike. It was in, out, boom, bam. Now, they have to manage this correctly, so Trump could still fail at this, But at this particular point in time, everyone seems to be happy. The stock market's pumping. Like, there's some very tangible data to say that it's going to go good.
And what is interesting about the way that he's done it too is he just took Maduro out, but the rest of the government is still intact. Now, there's a few interesting parts of that. Number one, you might say, well, what's the point? Because they're all as corrupt as Maduro was, so they're just going to do the same corrupt things as before. However, now there is a giant threat hanging over their heads that if you don't do what the US says, we're going to yoink you as well, and anyone else that is doing the wrong thing, right? So we talk about incentives all the time. Now the incentives are in place to stop antagonizing the US. And we haven't even spoken about the drug part of it either, right? That was the original justification for yoinking him in the first place, is that he's essentially the head of a criminal drug cartel.
The drug part, to me, in my mind, is the smallest part of it. It's literally the only thing that they could probably try him for in America, which is what they're using, which people are upset about that too. Well, it was never about the drugs. Hey, dude, how many law movies have we watched where you're like, this guy did this thing, that, but I can't prove it, so I'm going to get him on this thing.
Yeah.
That's how the legal system is set up.
It was just to get the legal justification to do the operation in the first place. But again, the lefties have forgotten too. Who was it that put the $25 million reward on Maduro's head? It was Biden.
Yeah, $25 million. I hope that Trump pocketed that one.
Yeah.
I was wondering, he was like, I'll be taking the $25 million. Thanks, Biden.
Yeah, so, like, that's the thing. Like, these same lefties who... And, who was it? Who's the... Chuck Schumer. There was a clip that went around the other day, and it was of Chuck Schumer massively criticizing Trump for pulling this operation, saying all the same things as all the rest of them. You can't go into sovereign nations and pull the leaders out, and blah, 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 blah. And then they juxtaposed it against a clip of him from 4 years ago, where he was talking about how Trump was talking tough on Maduro. And he's like, what Maduro plan? Maduro's still in power, and he's more corrupt now than he's ever been. But basically saying Trump hasn't done anything about Maduro, therefore that he's a bad guy. And now Trump's done something about Maduro, and now Trump's a bad guy. Like, it's just, they say whatever politically suits them at the time.
Sorry, one point I forgot to mention about Greenland, which Pippa Malmgren spoke about, is how significant it is for space.
Right.
So because it's in the Arctic Circle and the way the Earth rotates, having a fixed point means you can maintain better communication with satellites.
Yep.
And I'm of this opinion too. You know how gold and silver's going buck wild? Mm-hmm. Do you know why I'm not investing in gold and silver?
Why? Oh, because you think they're going to start mining asteroids?
Yeah, and then gold and silver is worthless.
Yeah.
So, and just so you know, there's no Bitcoin asteroids out there. Not that we know of, anyway. Not that we know of. No, but it has got a very significant, and it would be America's most northern territory, and it puts it in gives them a presence in the Arctic Circle.
Yep.
And space is the new frontier.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to go.
Yeah, look, let's wrap it up there.
How long did we go for?
Again, about an hour. About the same as normal.
Oh, man.
But yeah, just to wrap it up in a nice little bow, I think the main points out of this are a few things can be true at the same time. Mm-hmm. They don't have to be in contravention to each other. This can be a good thing for the Venezuelan people if it's handled correctly moving forward.
Sorry, I saw a really funny meme. There's a lot of people saying that the way to sort this Greenland thing is that Baron Trump should marry the Princess of Denmark.
Yeah.
And they should join the houses.
Why not? It's the oldest way of doing it, right?
Yeah.
To do it without bloodshed. But yeah, this can benefit the Venezuelans. This does cut China off from the oil, which they were probably going to be taking if the US didn't do anything about it. This will help to stem the flow of illegal drugs into the United States, regardless of whether you feel like that's what it was all about in the beginning or not. It will help to stop that. It also sends a massive warning shot to the rest of the world that the big dog is back in town, and I think the days of a multi or unipolar world, or whatever it is they call, are kind of over. The days of pretending that the international criminal courts are going to do anything about any of this stuff is over. The old adage always used to be, might equals right. And I think that, unfortunately, this is the big boy conversation you need to have. Superpowers are going to do superpower things. Whether we like it or not, we are all just pawns in a much larger game. But if I had to choose between America running the world and China running the world, I'm still going to choose the US.
And going back to the international court thing,
There's no
You
sound. Oh, there we go.
Me. Sanction me with your army. Oh, wait a minute. You don't have an army. I guess that means you need to shut the fuck up. That's what I do if I don't have no army. I would fuck up. Shut the fuck up. That's right. Okay, now I think I'm going to take orders from an African. You might speak 16 languages, but you're going to need them when you in Times Square selling fake hats. I know Gucci when I see it, nigga. I'm rich.
And on that note, thanks so much for joining us, guys. We will see you all next week.
I'm rich.